is the perfect servant. It's the first Sunday of the month, so we come to the Lord's table. Because remember, we eat the bread and we drink the cup to remember his death until he comes. He told us to do that. And what better way to come to the table than to look at Jesus as the perfect servant? The perfect servant who got down on his hands and knees and washed the dirty feet of the disciples. Let's read it together, shall we? It's long, but we can do it. Ready? It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and to go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with a towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." The bottom line, guys, is it's later. It's later, and it's time for us to understand. We're entering into 2011, first month gone already. Goes fast. The older you get, the faster it goes. And we're studying to become the people that God wants us to be individually and as the journey. And that's going to be servants. We've got to become servants of people. If we want to be great, we become the least. You want to be first, put yourself last. But you need an understanding. At the very beginning of these verses, it told you very clearly, Jesus was going to celebrate his last Passover Seder. This would be the last time Jesus would sit at a table and go through the most sacred holiday for the Jewish people, the Passover Seder. He also knew that this was the last night he would have in freedom, that he was about to be arrested, betrayed, falsely accused, murdered. He knew what crucifixion was. He had seen it before. He knew what was going to happen to him. Do you understand the setting? Do you understand? He has a lot on him, doesn't he? He has a lot on his heart. This is not a light, happy time for Jesus. This is a very serious time for him. But here's the part that amazes me, is he put others first. He put others first. This is a time, this is definitely one time where Jesus could have said, "You need to help me. You need to minister to me. You need to encourage me. You need to support me. I need you." But what did he do? He got up from the table, took off his outer robe, put a towel around his waist, and he got down on his hands and knees and started to wash the dirt off of their feet. Would it have been so wrong for the disciples to have done that for him? No. This would have been the one time when couldn't it have just focused on Jesus just a little bit? But he put others first. Guys, what about you? Do you put yourself aside to think about the needs of others? Or is it all about me? Because you live in a world that's telling you it's all about you. You deserve a break today. Think of all the little slogans. What's Target? Expect more, pay less. Right? Start thinking about some of the other slogans. Come on. You won't watch this stuff on TV all the time. Burger King. Wah! Have it your way. You ever really pay attention to it, did you? All the little jingles and the slogans are all about me, 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 me. Totally opposite to what Jesus is doing. Jesus said it's not about me, it's about them. God knelt on his hands and his feet and washed the dirt off their feet. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. He met their need. He met their need. He demonstrated his love for them by lowering himself not just physically, but spiritually. He could have stood up and said, "Excuse me? I am God in flesh, Emmanuel. I am the incarnate being of the eternal, everlasting God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know that. You get down and you worship me and you wash my feet." And he didn't do that at all. See, washing feet was very necessary back in those days. Do you know why? Because they were barefoot, or at least they wore sandals if they had sandals. And so walking, their feet would get dirty. The rest of them wouldn't. They would have bathhouses. And they would go to a bathhouse and totally wash themselves. But walking from the bathhouse to wherever they were going, their feet got dirty. So it was necessary, and was part of greeting when they came to your house, that you took a picture and you washed their feet and dried their feet for them, so that when they came in, they were totally clean. You know why it was also necessary? Are you ready for this one? It's disgusting. When they ate, the table was this high off of the floor. And so you would recline. Imagine chowing down on some good ragugi, some good mando and kimbap, and right next to you are Joe's nasty, crusty, dirty feet. Disgusting, right? It was a necessity. It had to be done. It had to be done. What are things that have to be done for people today? Kids need school supplies, right? So in August, we need to have a back-to-school party, dinner, games, and as they leave, hand them bags of pencils and pens and papers. And you ever thought about that? Interesting. Maybe we can find out from the school system around here, maybe there's a needy family or two that we can help out at Thanksgiving. But see, the problem is this: we got to get to know people. You can't just sit in here and say, "We want to help people." You have to get to know people. You can walk up to a stranger and go, "Oh, we want to help you." They'll be like, I don't know you. Right? We got to get to know people. And as you get to know people, you find out what they need, and you become the hands and the feet of Christ in their life. And you serve them and meet their need. And they walk away saying, "Why? Why would they do that?" And you start them questioning, and they start their search for God. Finally, he did and not said. He did and not said. Jesus could have sat at the table, right? And said, "You need to serve one another. You need to do for one another out of love for me. As you go through life, meet people's needs. Touch them and serve them. Love them." No, what did he do? He got up and did it. He got up and did it. He didn't tell them this is what you do. He did it and said, "Follow my example." You know, one of the biggest problems they have in my school, do you know what it is? Most of the teachers are hypocrites to the kids. We sit there and tell them, "You have to follow this dress code. If you're not in this dress code, you get a detention. You're wrong." Yet the teacher who's doing that isn't wearing a tie. When for the teachers in our handbook, we're supposed to wear a shirt and tie every day. So how can you hand in a detention for a dress code violation when you're in violation? How can you confiscate a student's telephone when you sit there during chapel and you have your phone out and you're texting and doing things on your phone. Don't you hate people who are like that? Don't you? Really is annoying. How many people look at people in the church and we talk love and brotherhood and everything wonderful, but we all pull in, we walk in the building, we shut our doors, we do our thing, we get in our cars and we leave. We never say hi or do anything with the people. He demonstrated, he did. He walked the walk and not talked the talk. Too many Christians nowadays can talk the talk. They know what to say, it sounds good, oh, it's wonderful, but they don't walk it. They don't live it. Their methods don't match their message. What they do does not measure up to what they say. We're all guilty of that. We got to be careful of that. We really do. Jesus didn't do that. He got down on his hands and his feet and washed their dirty, filthy feet. But you know what's exciting about this story to me? Jesus just didn't want the clean part of them. He accepted their dirty part too. Jesus accepts me the way I am, clean and dirty. He loves me. That's just marvelous to me. So as we come to the table, we take the bread, we remember his death, the fact that he gave up his body willingly because he loved us. We come, we take the cup. We remember the blood that was shed freely for us as he served me, as he served each one of us today. We remember, not because of anything we did, not because we're wonderful, but because he loved us. And the best thing he could have done for us is to serve us by dying for us. And he did, willingly. We remember today. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. I'm going to read verses 23 to 32. These are verses that call you to the discipline of silence. The table is open. When I finish reading these verses, I want you to prepare yourself to come to the table. This isn't snack time, right? This is a very sacred time. Listen, it says, "For I received from the Lord what I also passed on to you. The Lord Jesus, on the night that he was betrayed, took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and said, 'This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me.' In the same way, after supper, he took the cup, saying, 'This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Do this whenever you drink it in remembrance of me.' See, for whenever you eat and drink this bread and you eat and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. Therefore, if you want to eat the bread or drink the cup of the Lord, make sure you do it in a worthy manner. If you come in an unworthy manner, you will be guilty of sinning against the body and the blood of the Lord. A man, a woman, a youth, you should examine yourself before you eat of the bread and drink of the cup. For if anyone eats and drinks without recognizing the body of the Lord, eats and drinks judgment on himself. See, that's why many among you are weak and sick, and a number have even fallen asleep. But if we would judge ourselves, we would not come under judgment. When we are judged by the Lord, and we are being disciplined so that we will not be condemned with the rest of the world. I call you to the discipline of silence. I call you to confession. I call you to admit those sins in your life that you may be clean, and you might be prepared, and when you're ready, you come and remember his death. Remember how he served you. Remember what he did out of his great love to serve you.